My Trivia Night flyer is almost done. It just needs one final touch: pictures. Word offers a couple of different ways of adding pictures, and if you go to the Insert tab, you have an option to insert a picture from a file or insert clip art. And I'm going to add some clip art first. When you click on this, a task pane opens up, and this is where you'll search for the clip art. Since this is a trivia night, I think some kind of picture that has question marks might look good. Here you can choose which types of media it will search for. I'm going to check illustrations and photographs. And then click out of that. I'm going to leave this checked so it'll search office.com in addition to the built-in clip art. And click Go. And this gives me a lot of results, so I'll just scroll down until I see something that I like. Okay, this one's perfect. If I click on it, it'll appear in the document. By default, pictures are set to be in line with text. That setting may be fine in some cases, but it's not going to work in this document because I won't be able to move it exactly where I want. Right-click the image and go to Wrap Text. And I'm going to select In Front of Text. And now I can move it wherever I want. Just like with shapes, you can use the handles to change the size. Now it's covering up this word art, so I'm going to right-click it and go to Send Backward. Now I don't want to go to Send to Back or Send Behind Text because I still want it to be in front of everything else. I just want to move it backward one level. Perfect. Sometimes you may have a specific picture on your computer that you want to use, and to do that, just go to Insert and Picture. Navigate to the folder where your file is, and select your file, and then click Insert. Just like with the clip art, the picture is set to be in line with text, and for this one, I'd actually like to wrap the text around it. So I'll right-click it, go to Wrap Text, and I'll choose Square. Now I can just move the picture around until the text is wrapping the way I want it to. I think this flyer is done now, so I'm just going to proofread it one last time, and then I'll be ready to print it. If you're using photographs in your documents, you'll probably want to make them look as good as possible. Word has some very powerful features that will let you do this. First, click on your picture, and the Format tab will appear. Let's start by cropping the picture. Click the Crop command, and you should now see some black handles around the edge of the picture. You'll need to put your mouse right over these handles, and if you're a little bit off, you may accidentally grab one of the resizing handles. Click and drag, and the parts that are going to be cropped out are kind of a dark gray. When you're done, you can click the Crop command again, or you can just press Enter. Just below the Crop command is a drop-down arrow, and if you go down to Crop to Shape, you can choose what type of shape you want your picture to be. I think I'll choose a rounded rectangle. With some photographs, you'll need to make adjustments, and these commands can be found in the Adjust group. If you go to Corrections, you can sharpen or soften the image, and you can also adjust the brightness and contrast. And as you hover over each one, you'll be able to see a live preview of it in the document. I think this one looks good. You can also adjust the color. You can change the saturation, the color tone, which controls how warm or cool the colors appear, And you can also recolor the image. But for this picture, I'm just going to adjust the color tone. Finally, you can add an artistic effect. Now, you probably don't want to add one to every single picture, but sometimes you may want to use them to spice up your document. And depending on what your picture looks like, some of the effects may look better than others, so just hover over some of them until you find one that looks good. Word also has a lot of different picture styles that are built in, and these are a great way to quickly change the appearance of your picture. Before you send out your document, you may want to compress your pictures, and this is also found in the Adjust group. Compressing pictures will make the file size smaller, so your document will be easier to email or post on the web. And there's an option to delete cropped areas of pictures. When you crop a picture, it doesn't actually delete anything from the file, it just hides the cropped areas. So even though you're not using those areas, they're still taking up space in the file. You can delete them by checking this option. You can also change the resolution. The email setting has the lowest resolution, so that means it'll have the smallest possible file size. And then click OK. You may have noticed that the picture adjusted a little bit, and that's because compression lowers the quality of the picture. So there is a trade-off, and you'll just have to decide whether you want to go with a higher quality or a lower file size. Word 2010 has a great feature called background removal, which can automatically remove parts of the picture that you don't want. This can give your pictures a cleaner appearance, and if it's a document you're going to be printing, it can also save ink. To get started, click on the picture and then go to the Format tab. And then select the Remove Background command. And don't worry if it doesn't look good yet, because we're going to adjust it. The first thing you should do is drag these selection handles so that the foreground areas of the picture are all inside the box. Once you do that, Word will automatically readjust the image. Right now the background areas are marked with kind of a magenta or purple color, but when we're done, those areas will be removed completely. Now with some pictures, Word needs a little bit of help deciding which areas to remove and which areas to keep. In this picture, there are a couple of problems. The woman's hand and the girl's fingers are marked as background, so we need to tell Word to keep those areas in the picture. Click Mark Areas to Keep, and then click and drag to create a line somewhere in the middle of this area, and Word will readjust the picture. But now it's including part of the background as well, so we need to mark this area to remove. That looks better. Go through the image and add markings wherever they're needed. And if you make a mistake, just click Delete Mark and then click on the mark and it'll disappear. Okay, it looks like our foreground subjects are good and the entire background is magenta, so the last step is just to click Keep Changes. And that's it. Since the background has been cut out, anything that's behind this picture will now show through. So if you want, you can give it a new background by putting a shape or picture behind it. And at any time, if you see something that you've missed, you can always edit the picture again by clicking on it and going back